This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Thousands of people have gathered at Anzac Day services across the state to honour our soldiers who arrived in Gallipoli 103 years ago. It was a sombre morning as dawn rose, with families and mates standing side by side to remember the ultimate sacrifice made by the fallen and those still serving.
As dawn breaks, a soldier stands in the still of the morning. Crowds uniting to reflect on the 103rd anniversary of Anzac Day.
We remember that this was to be the war that would end all wars, and grieve that this has been a forlorn hope. We remember, lest we forget.
Guildford Young College students delivering an address about their family's experience with the horrors of war.
The storming of the machine gun, capturing Curran Post. A moment of true fearlessness, too great to be ignored. Only in part could a military medal symbolise his award.
On Anzac Day, 1919, he'd be granted his rescission. Back to his island home is where he would now go, returning with only the remnants of old Arthur to show.
A stark reminder of the impact that battles then and today have on our nation.
If we are not striving for peace, if we are not striving to end all wars, have we forgotten?
A grandfather and his granddaughter were among the thousands who gathered here at Hobart Cenotaph this morning. They like to spend every Anzac Day together to commemorate his service in the Vietnam War.
If we don't learn our war, then our kids won't learn the war, and then that's just going to be bad.
It's a great day for Australians to all get together, and it's not just my association with Vietnam is only just minor compared to the greater picture, I think.
Generations standing side by side as the sun rose over Launceston. In memory of the enduring sacrifice made by those who fought and are fighting for our country.
Mainly because of my father who went to Vietnam, so yeah, and just to support all of the people that have served in wars over the years.
The time when we do remember all of our colleagues that are no longer with us and the ones that we've fought alongside of.
While in Ulverston, hundreds marched towards the Shrine of Remembrance to pay their respects.
Well, I think whatever we enjoy the freedom we've got, we ought to come and acknowledge those that gave it to us.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
For the first time in the state's history, women have led many of our Anzac Day marches. The change in tradition, a reminder it's not only those who fought on the front line who helped give us our freedom.
Leading the Anzac Day march for the first time, women brought to the front, acknowledging the changing face of those who serve.
It's a remarkable recognition for a century plus of service for women, not necessarily in the front line, but certainly in support roles and now in combat roles.
Usually when people think about the army, think about more men doing it, so it's good that people are starting to think about the women's side of things.
Crowds lining streets across the state, thanking our veterans, our former war nurses and the men and women still serving.
Why are you here today?
To see the soldiers march, to remember.
We've got to remember the mistakes that we made in the past and try not to repeat them.
Females nowadays account for between 15 and 35% of our service personnel, and more are coming through the ranks.
I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun and it's good. My dad used to do it as well, so it's like kind of following in the footsteps.
We must embrace the diversity of the modern veteran community and to commemorate all those who served and those who continue to do so.
At Cenotaphs, floral tributes were laid, many placed for fallen mates. Tributes also made from the sky as thousands of Tasmanians paused to remember.
In World War I, over 2,000 women served as nurses or medical workers. A common misconception is that they were kept from harm's way, safely tending to the injured far from the line of fire. But the truth is, often they were right in the middle of it.
96-year-old Ron Clark is one of the state's few remaining World War II veterans. His great-great-grandson today wearing his medals proudly on his chest.
What does it mean to you, Anzac Day?
Thoughts for a lot of people. Memories come back, and some of them are faded now.
But decades on, the memories for others will always be remembered. Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Following today's Hobart Anzac Day service, Tasmania Police is seeking assistance in identifying and locating a motorbike rider. He was caught driving in a dangerous manner near the cenotaph just before 12:30. The bike is believed to be a stolen black Triumph with homemade number plates. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. A Tasmanian RSL club has joined forces with a church on a mission to include the next generation in the meaning of Anzac Day. Over 100 people taking part in traditional but family-friendly festivities at an Anzac in the Park event today.
It started as a casual conversation between a church and a local RSL. The challenge of getting children and families more engaged with Anzac Day. Today, the answer came to life.
We're doing this community commemoration with a whole bunch of activities that the whole family can get involved with. And it was lovely to see the number of kids sort of planting poppies in the field or tying a yellow ribbon around the tree and engaging with the story of Anzac Day and what it means for our country.
So my great-grandfather fought in World War II, so it's very important that I attend this stuff, and it means a lot just seeing everyone here. It's amazing the support we get.
I came to the park to make poppies and look around at what's happening. I quite enjoyed it.
The popular Lenna Valley Park was full of activities, competitions and even a donkey ride. The aim, to include children in the Anzac spirit beyond the formal service.
I think with Anzac Day, it's a lot for the adults and not so much for the children. So this gives us a great opportunity to include kids on the Anzac Day remembrance.
And I love the way our kids want to engage. They want to find a way to find the part in the story. So I think that's why it's important. This is such an important day for our country, and it's an important day for us to be together as community and retelling what Anzac Day is actually about.
It kind of shows them why Anzac Day is important and like the parade and stuff like that and how it's very serious.
A special event for the community, one that will hopefully continue for future generations. Ruby Kamane, Southern Cross News.
The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council last night approved a planning scheme amendment concerning a $100 million eco-resort development for Dolphin Sands. The state government says the move will help the East Coast capitalise on Tasmania's tourism success. Over the past year, interstate visitation rose by 17% across the state. The proposed development near Swansea would be one of the largest on the lower East Coast. Wynne Goff has had a few birthday parties in her time, but this one is extra special. The Tasmanian today celebrating her 100th year, and what better way than with a letter from the Queen and Prime Minister, topped off with a big celebration with her family and friends.
The centre of attention, and for good reason.
It's congratulations for Mum on her 100th birthday. To win.
Wynne Goff celebrating a very special milestone, surrounded by her family and friends.
Well, it doesn't come round very often, does it?
One recognised by the Queen, the Prime Minister and the Governor-General.
Yes, it was rather nice to get those, wasn't it?
She was born at the end of the First World War, went through the consequences also of the Second World War, and yeah, she's seen a lot in her life.
Her children describe her as remarkable. She's raised 4 of them and supported her late husband during his time as the Director General of the Education Department.
And she made sure that everything was appropriate, which meant that we kids had to toe the line pretty well.
She's been the perfect mother, and I've been very, very fortunate to be a member of the family.
Once a schoolteacher, this Centurion still lives independently at this retirement village in Claremont. She's now part of the furniture after spending 3 decades here.
She's a lovely lady. She knows her own mind. She keeps our staff on their toes. Yeah, she's a pleasure to have around.
After such a busy life, Wynne could be forgiven for forgetting some things. So tell me, how many have you got in your family?
I've lost count.
Crediting her longevity to what she calls living carefully.
Eat a lot of rubbish. Oh no, things are pretty quiet.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
It was a hotly contested Anzac Day clash at the Twin Ovals this afternoon, with the Tigers refusing to be bullied by TSL heavyweights Glenorchy. The home side preventing a Pies onslaught to set things up for an exciting final term, but in the end the visitors' class showed through. The Twin Ovals fell silent to honour our fallen Anzacs as players took stock on the significance of the day. It was all the Pies when things got underway, with Jai Bierman showing why he's one of the competition's rising stars, booting the visitors off to an early lead. Glenorchy continued to apply the pressure at both ends of the ground, flooding back to ensure the Tigers struggled to find targets. With the momentum in their favour, John Geard capitalised to give the Pies a 3-goal lead at the first change. A quarter-time pep talk from coach Trent Bomella saw the home side come out strong in the second, clawing back the difference to 11 points at the main break before Sam Dygan kept hopes alive to set things up for a tense final quarter showdown. But the Pies' experience proved the difference in the home stretch, Zach Webster helping the visitors kick away before a blistering run from Bierman saw him boot another for the day, with Glenorchy running home the 20-point winners. To soccer, and the Hobart Zebras have reclaimed top spot on the NPL ladder with an impressive come-from-behind win over Olympia. The Warriors came out strong in front of the North Hobart crowd to draw first blood, but couldn't hold off the might of the Zebras forward line. With both sides desperate to climb their way back up the league ladder, neither gave an inch in the first 30 minutes until Olympia were gifted a chance, with Jake Vandermeer converting to put the Warriors up just before half-time.
Rolls it the other way of Sheku Kamara. The Olympia Warriors take the lead here.
With the Zebras forward line looming in the second, Jakob Sklenar showed his class, unleashing into the back of the net.
Gets around one, hits at the right foot, and Jakob Sklenar makes no mistake this time.
The Czech weaving his magic again just minutes later to give the Zebras the edge.
Composed from the Czech marksman, and it's 2-1 Zebras.
Brimming with belief, Hobart had one more left in them for the match, with Matt Sanders sealing the 3-1 win. Meantime, the Launceston Tornadoes will be looking to turn a disappointing start to the 2018 Siebel season around, set to welcome back Lauren Mansfield for this Friday night's clash against Sandringham at Elfin Stadium, after the star point guard finished up her season in Poland. And Richie Port's Tour de Romandie campaign has gotten off to a shaky start in Switzerland overnight, as the defending champion struggled to keep the pace of the top riders, with the Tasmanian finishing stage 1 in 18th place, 14 seconds behind winner Michael Matthews, with 5 days left of racing.
Good evening. Well, the weather held off for most services today. A few showers over the western parts of Tasmania, but it was great to see so many people honouring our servicemen and women. I was thinking about my grandfather, who interestingly served in both the First and Second World Wars. Hobart 22 today, Launceston 17 and Burnie 19 degrees. Bushy Park on top with 23 and mostly fine apart from a shower over the west. Ouse 22, Grove and Friendly Beaches 21, Flinders Island and Smithton 19, Lowhead 18, King Island 17 and Strawn 16 degrees. Now, here we can see the cloud that brought the showers to the west and the odd one to the north today. Quite a bit of clear air over the eastern part of Tasmania. The next front has thinning cloud as it approaches the state. Some cold air is in behind that frontal cloud, which will be pushed to the south by a high pressure system later. Some cloud with an upper disturbance moved over central Australia from the Indian Ocean. Tomorrow, that front pushes through to the east of Tasmania. The high over the head of the bight dominates most of the country. The next cold front approaches Western Australia. Winds westerly at 20 to 25 knots, reaching 35 knots over southern waters, swells to 3 metres in western and southern waters. Gale warning from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning from Wineglass Bay to Tasman Island and from Low Rocky Point to Sandy Cape, a small craft wind alert for the lakes. For Hobart, an early shower clearing, 16 the top, 16 also for Cygnet and New Norfolk with a shower or two. Launceston, partly cloudy and 17, possible early shower clearing from Devonport, 17 as well and 16 the high for Campbelltown. Burnie, an early shower, 17 the maximum, 15 the top for Strawn, with showers easing later in the day, a shower or two as well for Smithton. And St Helens mostly sunny, 18 degrees, 17 for Swansea, partly cloudy for Fingal and 16. On Friday, showers over the west and far south, clearing by evening, fine and partly cloudy for most on Saturday. There will be a shower over the southwest, another light shower over the southwest on Sunday, otherwise fine. A sunny 27 in Perth, some cloud over Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane cloudy as well and 28 degrees, and the dry season is kicking in over Darwin.
So that's all from the team for now. Have a great evening. Good night.